Hey guys, today's tutorial is based off of the top that Kim Kardashian wore. Hers was kind of like this deep chocolatey brown, and I just did it in like a white tone. All you're gonna need is some white one yarn and a 2mm hook, and I'll walk you through it. As always, check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and if you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, let's get into it. So we're starting with a slip knot, and we're making a chain. We're gonna chain a chain that is long enough to wrap around your entire waist, around your belly button level, but that is only going to be the front panel, so don't forget when it gets like significantly shorter. We're working from the bottom up. And your chain, it has to be in multiples of 4 plus 3. So I'm doing a chain of 140 plus 3, so 143. Alright, so I have my chain, and the first thing that we're going to do is count 10 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then in the 11th one, we are going to yarn over and insert our hook and put a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and skip 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th chain we are going to put a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and count 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then insert a double crochet in your 4th one. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and count 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then in the 4th one insert a double crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, count 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then insert a double crochet into the 4th one. We're doing, I'm not quite sure what this stitch is called. I personally call it like a square mesh. But so the pattern is chain 3, skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and insert a double crochet into the 4th one. And just keep doing that all the way down your row until you get to the end. I've gotten to the end of my row, and you'll see it's kind of making like these little squares. So we're going to flip our work and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're looking at our work. We're gonna make a double crochet into the top of this double crochet. Make sure not to get anything twisted. Chain 3. And put a double crochet into your next double crochet that you've already made. Chain 3, and we are just going to keep going down the line with the same pattern where we are chaining 3 and then inserting a double crochet into the top of the double crochet that we made for the previous row. Alright, so it stays the same for pretty much this whole row, but there is just a little bit of a tricky part when we get to the end of the row and turn our work to go on. So I will meet you there. So I've gotten to the end of my row, and we've got this beautiful kind of like meshy, fishnetty kind of deal. And so you might notice that at the end here we don't have a regular double crochet to enter into. So what we're going to do is, like normal, we're chaining 3, and then we're going to count 4 chains. We're going to insert into the 4th one with a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry if I'm not showing this well, it's just tiny thread that we're working with today. Alright, and we're at the end of our row, so we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just do exactly what you did for the last row. So we are going to keep doing rows like this until we have enough that covers from around our belly button area, that's where the shirt ends, up until just over your breast, maybe in line with your armpit. So I'm going to keep going with this mesh pattern. If you need to keep watching, feel free to just rewind a little bit. And I will meet you when we have our front piece all the way up to around armpit level. So I've got my little square done. I did 37 rows, and as you can see, it's pretty stretchy. And the more you stretch, the more see-through it's going to be. I think that this would make a really cute bikini cover-up. We could even try making a skirt with it. Let me know if you want to see that, but Kim just wore the top. So I'm at the end of this row, and now we're going to start decreasing 1 block from each end on every single row for 7 rows. Like we start every row, we are going to do 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I don't know if this is the right way to decrease this mesh stitch, but this is the way that I'm going to do it. So usually we would put our first stitch into this bar, but we're going to skip it and go into the very next one. See how it makes that kind of like diagonal? We're going to make kind of like a trapezoid top to our top. So I am just going to continue down the row like normal. And then when I get to the end of the row, I will show you how to decrease on that end as well. Alright, so I'm at the end of my row, and you see I have 2 blocks left. So I have my chain 3. Usually I would go into this stitch right here, but we are just going to skip over that stitch and go into the end. And as normal, we're counting 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and inserting into the 4th one. And chain 7 again. Flip your work. And we're just going to keep doing those decrease rows for 6 more rows. So we skip over that first one and insert into the second one. Continue down the row. And then at the end of the row, we just skip over that last bar and just go into that 4th chain with a double crochet. So we do these decrease rows for a total of 7. And then I will just show you how to finish off this top piece. So I finished my front panel. See how it kind of like goes inward? Curls it in a little bit, but yeah, it goes inward. And I want you to make an identical piece, so you can just scroll back in the video to do that, and then tie off of one, and then you can keep your string attached to your second piece. So you've got your 2 identical pieces, and at the end of one of them, you are going to chain 25. And we're going to take our second piece, find our last stitch on the end, and we are going to insert a slip stitch. Chain 2, and insert a half double crochet in that very same hole. And we are going to put a half double crochet into every hole and every stitch. So into the hole and then into the stitch. The hole and then the stitch. Hole, then stitch, all the way down to the end of the row. So I've gotten to the end here, and I have my 2 pieces attached, and I have my half double crochet row along this side, and now I'm going to chain 25 again. And now I'm going to take that first piece that we worked with, make sure that nothing is twisted, and then find the end on that piece to insert a slip stitch. Chain 2, and then continue what you did on the first part. So a stitch in every hole and a stitch in every stitch. Half double crochets all the way across. This is our neck hole. So we've got something like this, and that will be where our neck goes through. We're just going to keep going around doing those half double crochets, and then when we get back to the chain, I want you to continue doing half double crochets. Just keep going around and around until you have the neck, I guess the neck hole, the thickness that you want. So I did 4 spirals around, and just to end off, I am going to make a slip stitch. It doesn't really matter where, I just found a spot that felt natural. And snip and tie off. Next we're going to try on our piece so that we can mark where we want to make our armholes. So you're going to put on your top, make sure that your 2 ends line up, and then mark underneath your armpit where you want your armhole to be. The way I do this is I take a paper clip and just loop it through both front and the back, and then do that on the other side as well. So I have my 2 sides lined up, and we're making this nice big armhole. We're going to make a slip knot, insert our hook, and then find our 2 end holes. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and make a slip stitch, chain 1, and just like we did around the neckline, we're going to put 1 stitch in through each of the stitches, both in the front and the back. Make sure that you're going actually into that stitch, and I'm going to make a single crochet and then a stitch into the hole. A stitch into the stitch, then a stitch into the hole. If you keep doing this, it should keep you lined up, and I'm just going to continue doing that up until I get to my stitch marker. Alright, so I've made those stitches, it's nice and secure, and I've made it back to my stitch marker. So I'm just going to remove my stitch marker now, I don't need it anymore. And now we've got this armhole. What we're going to do is, with half double crochets, we are just going to go around and around like a spiral until we have the like kind of cap sleeve length that we have. We were using both sides before, and now we're just going to drop one of those sides, it doesn't matter which one, and we are just going to continue doing our stitches like we just were, except I am switching to half double crochets now. So a half double crochet in the stitch, and then a half double crochet in the hole, a half double crochet in the stitch, and a half double crochet in the hole, in the stitch, and the hole. So I'll meet you when we get up to the neck part. So I've gone up the side, and now I am back to the neck part, and this should be pretty simple because we have our defined stitches already there, and we're just gonna keep doing half double crochets all the way across. Once we finish the neck, we're just going to keep going down the other side, just like we did the first side. So just continue on like that. So I've gotten back to where I started, and I am just going to continue on, inserting half double crochets into each stitch, just as you would normally. I didn't do anything special at the beginning of the row. I'm just going to continue on in a spiral pattern all the way until I have the desired length that I want. Kim's isn't like a long sleeve at all. I wouldn't even call it a cap sleeve, like it's just like a tank top basically. So I'm gonna try to match that as well as I can, and I will meet you there. So I've done around 8 rows. You can do more or less. I just think that this will be the most flattering on myself. I stopped doing rows right at the armpit seam, and what we are going to do, since we've been going in that spiral pattern, we are just going to end with a slip stitch. Chain 1 and tie off. Now you're going to repeat exactly what you did for this armhole on the other side. So you're going to sew up the side and then do your armhole, and then you'll be all done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to check me out on Instagram and TikTok, and if you have any questions, let me know. Bye!